Hello, my name is Melissa Vallely and welcome to a One Tech World. In my lounge today is the amazing Dr. Rashada Harry. Welcome, Rashada.
Thank you so much. It's such a pleasure to see you and thank you for having me.
Thank you. Well, obviously, I know loads about you because you're one of our previous award winners and you're a multiple award winner now, but we'll come on to that a little bit later. But for those people that don't know you, you've missed out. Tell everyone who you are. And it's first challenge of the day. You've got 60 seconds to tell me who you are. Let's go.
Okay. All right. So nice to meet you all. I'm Dr. Rashada Harry. I'm an enterprise technologist at Amazon Web Services. So what I do is I advise a lot of our corporate and strategic customers on their digital transformation and cloud journeys. I've been in the industry for 20 years. I actually read law at university, so I transferred a lot of my skills into the tech world. And I'm really passionate about supporting women and young people from underrepresented backgrounds into STEM.
Fantastic. Interesting that you transferred in from law, because a lot of people are like, this is my particular discipline, this is my particular, degree, and that you can't kind of make that transition through different industries. And you did. So that's fantastic. So obviously, if anyone's watching, don't be tied down to kind of where you've done your degree, because we can obviously move on. So obviously, because you've been around a hell of a long time in the women's space and made a huge impact while you've been there, do you think we've made any progress in the last 10 years?
Yes, go ahead.
No, and my other question was, what more do we need to be doing?
Sure. So I will start by saying that when I joined the industry, it didn't look anything like this. And although that was 20 years ago, when I look back at the last 10 years, I do think we have made some progress. I think we're having the non-conventional conversations, and we're challenging not only the organizations and our leaders, but we're also challenging ourselves to make sure we're disrupting the status quo. We're having the conversations that matter about the progress of women in the industry. Do I think we've made massive progress? No. Do I think there's still a long way to go? Absolutely. But I think it's a collective effort, and it shouldn't just be on the leaders of our organizations. It should be at every level of the management chain and down to the individuals. So I think we're getting there, essentially.
Yeah. I mean, the stats said, if you look at stats around more women on boards, that seems to be going up. The number, depending on what report you read, like the number of women in technology seem to be going up. The girls taking STEM subjects, but I think there was a recent thing where there was a big celebration because 17,000 girls took computer science GCSE, but it was against a backdrop of 71,000 boys. So it kind of showed you what the future's going to look like. So I just want to talk to you about things that have been going on lately. So there's been a lot of talk this year about companies pulling their diversity and inclusion initiatives. What are your thoughts on that? Because it seems like we've made some progress in areas, and things like this will only kind of pull us back.
Yeah, and I think in some organisations they have taken a step back, which I think is disappointing. At AWS, we're still continuing that journey of supporting women and diversity across all streams to propel our organisation. However, I think, those organisations that have taken a step back, we might need to look at why. We might need to challenge the leadership as to what are the reasons and rationale behind it. It may be that they find that they don't want to have separate initiatives for ED&I, but in fact, they've embedded a lot of processes into their structures. That means that it's no longer required, or they're fully supporting their employee resource groups, and therefore they feel that that's the mechanism they want. I always feel like this is going to be a relevant conversation. I'd love there to be an ideal world where we don't have to have the conversation, but I think as we progress as people and as we collaborate, we're certainly learning how to intersect in a more inclusive way, and therefore the conversation's always going to be relevant. So for those who don't think it's relevant, I'd like you to question why you think it's not relevant. For those who would like to do more, I'd encourage you to put your hand up. There's still a lot more that we can do to make this a more inclusive space for everyone, and I think that's the way that everyone should look at it.
Yeah. Do you think it's really important for companies to create kind of listening forums like what we have with ERGs?
Oh, absolutely. I feel like ERGs provide a safe space for people to come and bring their full and authentic selves to the organisation. They say that the people make up the culture of an organisation, and you're at work 5 out of 7 days. You need to feel comfortable in that space and bring your true self to work. And organisations that respect and value different perspectives and different opinions find that they actually outperform because they're more innovative, they're more agile, they think about things differently, and they bring in different viewpoints and create different solutions. So I definitely feel like ERGs should be continued to be supported, but fundamentally the processes within the organization need to be such that, you know, it's a filter through. So the things that get brought up in those ERGs are literally recognized by the people making policy changes within the business.
Exactly. And I think sometimes that's where ERGs get a little bit lost, because they become talking shops, but there's no funnel that goes upwards and drives change within the wider organisation.
Yeah.
So let's talk about your career, because obviously you've had a hugely successful career. You've done various stints at large tech companies, and obviously you're working at Amazon now. When you reflect back, what do you think the secret of your success has been? And don't get me wrong, I know there's probably been bumps in the road along the way.
Yeah.
But if you had to look around kind of your own inner strength, your own inner resilience, what has enabled you to achieve that success? What's your, I suppose, your own internal mantras, if you like?
Yeah, I feel like, you know, when I look back, you know, as you know, I joined from the legal profession and I came into tech. So for me, it was quite overwhelming, you know, and it's very easy to think, oh my gosh, I can't do this. I don't know anything about the tech. But I think it was a mindset shift for me, is the fact that, you know, when you go into a new area, or you're going in and you're expanding your knowledge, see it as just that. You're just expanding your learning, and you're not expected to know everything all at once. So you're not expected to have all the answers. I think what stood out for me as part of my career is that I've always been able to ask questions. I'm okay to ask the silly questions. I'm okay to look, you know, ill-informed if I'm actually learning and getting the right answers. And I feel that that's something that's really stood me in good stead, because I always want to help someone else. You know, I've been there where I'm in the room and I'm thinking, gosh, am I the only one who doesn't know what's going on? But actually, it's providing that safe space for people to ask questions, to not have all the answers, and to collaboratively get to the solutions, I think is really helpful. I also think it's about kind of the way in which you collaborate with others, the way you work with your peers and your colleagues. You know, as women, we don't always sell ourselves well. We don't always talk about and champion, oh, I'm doing this great work. And I think that is something that I'm learning. I'm still on the journey of, you know, amplifying, you know, the successes of things that I do, and the contributions that I'm making. I also think as a leader, it's really important to recognize that you may have introverts in your team, or people who aren't as comfortable or confident talking about their successes. And I think it's really important to amplify those people and share the good work that they're doing. I think that's also helped and contributed, and to know that you're not alone. It takes a village, right? It takes a lot of people to get to being in a successful position. It's not just, I'm not an island. So for me, it's about making sure I have mentors, people who can support me, who can champion me, who can keep me on the straight and narrow and say, Rashada, you need to improve in this, or actually, Rashada, well done. You know, it goes a long way, and giving back to people in the same way, I think, makes a massive difference.
Absolutely. And you know what's really interesting, throughout all of these kind of press play interviews that I've been doing, like in my lounges, the biggest thing that's come out in most of every conversation with all of you is around collaboration. You know, that collaboration, that paying it forward. And I think for me, that is a real leader's mindset, you know, because we will get further if we go together. So, and I love your point about asking questions. You know, I don't think we're ever too old to ask. And actually, on reflection, I wish I'd have asked more in my early career, and not just think, oh, just because I got the fancy job title, I've been blessed with a brain that knows everything, right? So I can't ask because I look silly, or, you know, so I think that's absolutely sound advice for everyone. Now, despite your incredible career, you've also created something really special over the years with Your Future, Your Ambition. And I mean, I know because I've attended, and the magic that was in that Emirates Stadium is something else. But you tell everybody what you created and the impact that it's had.
So years ago, when I first joined the industry, I recognised there was a disconnect between what I'd studied at school and college and the world of work. And myself and a friend co-founded Your Future Ambition, with the ambition of creating that binding link between education and industry. So it's about showing young people from the age of 7 right up to graduate age about the possibilities, the opportunities that a career in science, tech, engineering, also the arts and maths, so STEAM, can afford young people. It's about making sure they can see themselves represented in organisations that they wouldn't ordinarily have had engagement with, and understanding about what they're learning at school and how that translates into skills that can be applied to roles that haven't even been thought about or created yet. So we created Your Future Ambition to be just that. It's your future and it's your ambition and it's your own personal journey to make sure that every young person had the opportunity to meet a role model in industry, have an opportunity to speak to employers and companies who are really interested in diverse and underrepresented talent across all diversity streams, and to make sure they had an interest and an inclination to think about STEM or STEAM differently.
Yeah. And it's amazing. Tell me how many children that you impacted as a consequence of that.
Oh my goodness. I think the last count was just over 12,000 young people went through our program. We had mentors, we had people across the globe. During the pandemic, we pivoted from an in-person event to an online one, and that allowed us actually to have a greater reach. We had young people from the Philippines, from Ghana, from the UAE, Manila, actually, in the Philippines, joining us. And it was a great opportunity for us to share our expertise, let them meet people in industry, see themselves represented, and also have that thought and that spark about what a career in STEAM could afford them.
Absolutely. And that's kind of what we tried to do with One Tech World, right? Bring everyone together from all these countries. Maybe we need a One Tech World for the kids. Maybe there's an idea for us. There we go in the future.
We can collaborate on that. That would be amazing. I think that's a good idea.
Exactly. See, and it was born here at One Tech World. But I mean, I think it's incredible what you've done. And so having attended that event, just seeing some of those kids' faces, because you can't be what you can't see.
Absolutely.
You know, and again, the amount of companies that were there, like actively engaging with the kids, you know, and you'd be surprised. That's, I mean, you know, because you've spoken in schools the same as I have, that talk that you do, that when you see a child's eyes light up that says, I think I can do that, or that sounds really interesting to me, or she looks like me, or she sounds like me.
Yeah.
You can't underestimate that impact, can you?
Definitely not. And I think it's also something around the volunteers. So we had over 300 volunteers one year from organizations ranging from GSK to TfL to Amazon to Adobe to, gosh, Barclays. Like there were so many, like even Cambridge University came along, and the City of London Police, who did a forensics crime scene, and the young people had to go in and understand how the tech and science solved a crime, and just to see those light bulb moments. But the volunteers also got a lot from it. You know, it was an opportunity for them to see their younger selves potentially represented, and to give and impart those insights and those bits of advice that they wish that they'd had. You know, it was definitely mind opening, and that's what we wanted. That's what we wanted to be.
And I think such a legacy because of those 12,000 children. You know, there'd be one day someone would tap you on the shoulder and say, I came to the Emirates, or, you know, I was on one of your online sessions. I think you can't underestimate that. And we wouldn't have that without you, Rashada, right? So a huge thank you from them. So if you had to leave everyone watching with one piece of kind of advice, it can be life advice, it can be work advice. What is your nugget of wisdom that you would like to impart?
I would say, do not think the sky's the limit. Whatever you can't do, or you think you can't do, or someone tells you that you can't do, always do it twice and take pictures.
I'm talking of that. And this lady has just recently won a Lifetime Achievement Award, and we all took her pictures. So in the words of Suki Fuller this morning to me, take your flowers because you deserve them.
Thank you so much.
Rashada, an absolute joy to talk to you. So if you want to connect with Rashada, you can do so on LinkedIn. Do watch her. She's definitely one to watch. We haven't heard the last of her yet, and I'm sure she'll go on to create even more magic in the industry. But thank you very much, Rashada, for joining me.
Thank you for having me, Vanessa. Good to see
you.
You.
Pleasure. And you. Thank you.